There are stepping stones, but there can't really be a master plan where everything is predicted, where there is an objective. Sometimes when we go beyond the objective, we discover extraordinary things. Zaha Hadid, who was a trustee of the gallery and in 2006 was invited by Julia Peyton-Johns to design the very first Serpentine Pavilion, gave us also the motto for the scheme that there should be no end to experimentation. For Zaha, this idea that there should be no end to experimentation ever was really the idea that we always find unexpected things and we should allow that to happen. In 2000, Zaha Hadid's inaugural pavilion reinvented the traditional tent. Zaha created a dramatic triangulated roof, angular planes folded into the landscapes, blurring sculpture and architecture, and establishing the pavilion as a place where bold ideas could become reality. The rule of the game from the very beginning is that the architect has not built previously in London or the UK. I joined the gallery in 2006, and it is in 2006 that Rem Koolhaas and Cécile Balmont created an inflatable canopy floating above the structure, rising and lowering with the weather while glowing from within after dark. After 2006, we made the pavilion also increasingly a content machine. The marathons, our discursive festivals where over 12 or 24 hours we have infinite conversations, the park nights, the performances, the film screenings, many events happen here. In 2013, Sue Fujimoto, who is now our trustee, was selected as the youngest architect at the time, heralding a new phase of platforming architects at the pivotal stage in their career. He designed a building with wide steel poles and lattice work with transparency, creating a cloud-like structure that partly blended into the garden landscape. The year after, Smiljan Radic was announced to be the Pritzker Prize winner in 2026, created a kind of a soucoupe volante. It was almost a UFO, which landed here and was his first major structure outside Chile. If you look at countries in continental Europe, many of the really well-known architects of the later part of the 20th century, somewhere from Niemeyer to Frank Gehry to Zaha Hadid and Rem Koolhaas to Katsuro Sejima, Peter Zumthor, Jean Nouvel, many of these architects have actually built all over Europe, but they have not built in the UK. So in 2012-13, we realized that the scheme had become very well known. It had become a kind of an annual rendezvous in the architecture world. A lot of attention was paid to it, and we kind of realized that we could actually use this visibility of the scheme to enable, to empower a younger generation of architects, to create more visibility for new voices. And it's very important for us also to give visibility more to female architects. There is such an amazing generation all over the world. So we invited, for example, Frida Escobedo, who had not built a lot outside Mexico, and soon after her extraordinary Serpentine Pavilion went on to win the competition for the Metropolitan Museum. He's now designing also the Foreign Ministry in Qatar, the Centre Georges Pompidou. And of course, another example would be the 2023 pavilion of Lina Gottme. Lina's pavilion was called À Table, and it's particularly significant, I think, in terms of this whole idea of the pavilion being there for everyone. The pavilion has no doors, everyone is welcome. For Lina, À Table meant that she created a big table in the pavilion, and it was really an opportunity, a possibility for strangers who otherwise wouldn't meet to gather. And we live in a world which is very divided, which is very polarized, where a lot of people don't talk to each other anymore. So the pavilion is also, we feel, a great opportunity for people to assemble, for people to gather. It's of course something also Sumaya Valley did very strongly. Sumaya created the pavilion as an archipelago, which happened not only here in Kensington Gardens, but all over London. Last year, with Marina Tabassum, this idea of a gathering space was also very important. Marina created a structure around the ginkgo tree. The tree became permanent afterwards and was planted in the park. The pavilion could move according to weather, and when it rained, it could actually be more closed, and on sunny days more open. And Marina created these benches where, again, people could just come and meet and sit next to each other and have a conversation. We're here in the 2026 pavilion by LANZA Atelier. LANZA Atelier are a Mexico City-based young architecture studio founded by Isabel Abascal and Alessandro Arienzo, and their architecture always involves a deep engagement with the local context, materials and craftsmanship. Titled A Serpentine, their pavilion is anchored on the English architectural feature known as a serpentine or crinkle-crankle wall, and they chose actually brick as the primary material to celebrate the distinctive English garden tradition and establish a conversation with the existing brick facade of the Serpentine. It's kind of fascinating that in 26 years they are the first architects to use brick in London, a city which in big parts is built out of bricks. The insides are on the outsides with LANZA. The pavilion is constructed from a very rhythmic repetition of brick columns that have thin gaps, and we can actually look through and always also see the park. The park comes to us and we go to the park. So the pavilion is open to everybody with free access. There are no doors, and we invite visitors to simply walk in. We want to celebrate the tradition of park going and the openness of public space, as well as historical elements of architecture and also ancient material practices. Or to quote freely the art historian Panofsky, the future is sometimes invented with fragments from the past. Architecture binds us to the past, the present, and to the future. Time is of course important to Rolex, who joined the Serpentine Pavilion as official timepiece and have championed architecture through its perpetual art initiative for nearly 2 decades. The mission of the initiative is to promote excellence and achievement and to assist in the transmission of our artistic heritage to future generations. Serpentine plus Rolex is 1 + 1 = 11. Architecture and watchmaking have much in common: a commitment to innovation, to precision, to performance, and also, of course, to aesthetics. It's no coincidence that so many architects in the pavilion's own history, Alvaro Siza, Katsuyo Sejima, Peter Zumthor, Olafur Eliasson, Lina Gottme, are all part of the Rolex family too. We are so proud to begin this partnership here, this year, in 2026. As the philosopher Roman Kaczarnik, who's London-based, always says, we live in a time of short-termism, and it's important to kind of reintroduce long-duration thinking, more sustainable thinking into the world. We're also very grateful to our other partners, very important partners here with the Serpentine Pavilion. The long-duration partnership with Goldman Sachs over the last 12 years has allowed us to go into the younger generation. We're also extremely grateful to Her Excellency Sheikh Al Mayassa and the Qatar Museums for a 3-year partnership. The pavilion always develops a second life after London, and we're also very grateful to Stage 1 and to ACOM. Yeah, it really does take a village to do this pavilion. And Bettina Korek, our CEO, our teams and I are very grateful to all the partners for this great dialogue.